Hello, everyone. This is Wake Up, Look Up, a podcast where we connect events happening in real time to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Zach Wyrock. Today, we're looking at baby bust, or declining birth rates, a crisis. This episode is prompted by an article in NBC News recently that highlighted a pretty interesting program that the city government in Tokyo is releasing. They're actually releasing a dating app that is run by city government. It's an effort to get Tokyo citizens not just dating, but to get them to get married and to have children. That's because the marriage rate in Tokyo is in decline, and so is the birth rate. In fact, the birth rate in Tokyo is at an all-time low. It's so low, this is a pretty startling statistic, it's so low that for every baby born, 2 people are dying. The death-to-birth ratio is 2 to 1. So that means 100 years from now, Tokyo will be half the size, if not more, of a decline than that. It's a startling stat. And it's not just unique to Tokyo. Birth rates around the world are declining in almost every country. They're declining here in the United States. And in countries such as Norway, the birth rate decline is so great, it's over 10.5%. This is a significant issue for 2 reasons, and I want to highlight them, one negative and one positive. The negative thing that this reveals to us is that the secular worldview doesn't actually lead to human flourishing. This is a constant theme of this podcast, that when we step outside of the authority of God, life doesn't get better, it gets worse. God told people when he made them in Genesis 1 that they should be fruitful and multiply. That part of what it means to be human is to get married, to have children, and to raise them to take over the world as one generation passes the baton to the next. But in the secular worldview, the highest goal of life is not what we do for others, but what others do for us. It's individual self-fulfillment. It's individual actualization. And the reality is that marriage and parenting are, in some ways, full frontal assaults on self-fulfillment. Marriage is a relationship of commitment and self-sacrifice. It doesn't always lead to the individual's highest goal of self-fulfillment. Parenting certainly doesn't do that. As anyone who's been a parent can tell you, it involves sleepless nights and financial responsibility and cleaning up messes emotionally, mentally, and physically. It's tough work, and it can get in the way sometimes of what you want for yourself. But the reality is the secular worldview tells us that we should live lives that make us happy. But of course, if everyone does that, literally cities and countries will crumble. They will cease to exist. This is yet another example that doing life our way doesn't lead to the common good. It doesn't lead to the world being a better place. And countries like Tokyo don't actually need dating apps or government programs. What they really fundamentally need is a reorientation of what it means to be human, a return to the authority of God. But here's the positive. As I look around at evangelical Christians, both on a sociological data level and then just an anecdotal personal experience level, evangelical Christians in this country are having children. It's not unusual to come on a Sunday at a church and see 4, 5, 6 kids getting out of a family vehicle. If those kids are coming to church and hearing the gospel and responding in faith, then it is easy to see that in 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, this country could be a much different place. I bet you've never thought about having children as God's redemptive plan for our country. That's because we tend to be focused on what's in front of us. We're asking God, what's going on in our world today? What's he doing about it today? But the Bible tells us God thinks in generations, and that God's plan for increasing his presence in our country, increasing his witness to the world, might just be the children in your minivan on the way to church. As we have children, we are actually undergoing a holy and redemptive task. That's why the Bible puts such an emphasis in the Old Testament on one generation of Israelites passing the stories of God's faithfulness down to the next. It's because God is going somewhere. He's doing something. And it's the responsibility of the current generation to get the next one ready for that. So maybe next time you're tempted to despair about the future of our country, volunteer in your church's children's ministry. It might just be that you're contributing to the answer of prayer that you've been looking for. Children are our future, and evangelical Christians are having A lot of them. I'm excited to see what that means for the next 50 years. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to get future content from Wake Up, Look Up and from Christ Community Chapel. And while you're here, check out the other videos we have available.